Part 37. My evil Imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 361. Lum Weian's eyes darkened when she saw that although the two were fighting, they didn't kill them. Enough to play, the man leaning on the tree had a playful smile on his lips, and his eyes shot directly at Lum Weian. Lum Weian smiled in a low voice, "It's almost there." Immediately, the formation plate in her hand turned flexibly, and a golden light flew out, turning into an arc and falling into the corner of the formation whose strength had been weakened a lot. The black light on the formation suddenly swayed, as if it were about to collapse and dissipate. The man squinted, his eyes full of interest. It was the first time he had met such a thoughtful and interesting woman. When he flipped his hand, a black array flag was revealed, and he muttered a few words in his mouth. The array flag hummed and flew straight to the sky above the formation. A trace of black light beams fell from the formation flag, and the circle of the formation's mask suddenly vibrated. Immediately, more than a dozen green-haired monsters emerged from the ground, and the evil spirits spread throughout the jungle. "What is this?" Several people looked at the green-haired monster and exclaimed. As the green-haired monster climbed out, a corpse aura spread through the jungle, and the smell was pungent and unpleasant. "This is a corpse owl," Lum Weian said calmly. Gu Xiu's complexion changed greatly, and obviously they had heard the name of the corpse owl. The corpse owl is a kind of puppet that can only be refined by high-level demon cultivators. It needs to be nurtured in the Xianxia pit for at least 10 years. Fire is also difficult to burn it to death. The aura emanating from these more than 10 corpse owls has reached the sword sect cultivation base, coupled with invincible and powerful bodies. Although all of them except Lum Weian and Lujia are all sword lords, they are difficult to kill and resist. Lum Weian took out a bottle of medicinal herbs and threw it to Gu Xiu. "These corpse gas are poisonous, you should take the detoxification pills first." Seeing the green air that accompanied the corpse owls, Gu Xiu did not hesitate, and immediately distributed the medicinal pill to a few people to take. "Junior sister Lu, do you have any way to deal with these corpse owls?" Gu Xiu found that the most calm among them from beginning to end was Lum Weian, who was the weakest. Seeing her calm expression at this time, he was not nervous at all. He had an indescribable sense of trust, as if she can solve the general. Lum Weian nodded and smiled, and with a wave of his hand, a transparent void spirit talisman floated towards the corner of the formation. "You try your best to attack this point, and leave these corpse owls to me to deal with. Junior sister Lu, be careful, if you lose, stop immediately, and we will face it together." Gu Xiu thought about it and said. "The current situation is not up to them to choose, maybe I believe that Lum Weian can still get a chance." The other people were filled with despair, but they were not the ones who gave up easily, and regardless of whether Lum Weian's method was useful or not, he controlled the magic weapon and smashed it in the direction of the void talisman. The man leaning on the big tree shrank in his eyes, and shot a vitality into the formation flag above the formation. The corpse roared a few times and rushed towards the formation. Lum Weian sneered, closed his eyes, and the seals kept forming on his hands, and then he snorted softly, "Break." As soon as her voice fell, countless orange flames erupted from the ground at the edge of the formation, and a few corpse owls who had stepped in screamed and were burned to ashes by the flames. "You actually have a spirit fire." The man's pupils shrank, his face instantly gloomy. The man and woman who were fighting also stopped and turned to look at Lum Weian in the formation. There was a bit of horror in their eyes. The boss's corpse owl was actually destroyed in half, but they knew that these corpse owls were powerful. The leading man waved his sleeves, and he put away the rest of the corpse owl. Ling Huo is the nemesis of the corpse owl. If it is not put away in time, the remaining half will be destroyed by the woman. Suddenly, the man in the dark mist with a pendant hanging around Lum Weian's neck opened his eyes, and all the light was scattered. "You slept well this night." As soon as he woke up, he heard Lum Weian's sarcastic voice. "I can't help it, My soul was too weak before, and it took a little longer. These evil spirits are just right for me to supplement." He laughed and took a sharp breath, lingering around the formation. A trace of it quickly got into the pendant and disappeared. Several other people were breaking the formation, and they were not familiar with the magic cultivator and did not notice it, but the man on the big tree showed a shocked color. Lum Wan frowned and did not stop her. She walked quickly to the corner where several people were attacking, took out an equally black formation flag, and planted it on the ground. Then he took out a few bright white stones and buried them all around. His hands were constantly changing, and one by one array prints were punched into the array flags. "Break the formation with the formation." Lucia couldn't help but speak in surprise when she saw her action. He didn't expect Lum Wan to be able to break through the formation. "Are you also a 4th level formation mage?" "Only a 4th level array mage can be used in order to break the formation, and he can't arrange it when he enters the 4th level. Judging from Lum Wan's easy movements, she is not just an ordinary 4th level formation mage." Lum Wan smiled and did not admit or deny that after she was promoted to Jian Zone, she could set up a 5th level formation. "If she advanced to the peak of Jian Zone, I believe that many 6th level formations could also be used." As Lum Wan's movements became faster and faster, the weak corner gradually showed a tendency of decadence, and several people immediately controlled the magic weapon to attack. Boom, with a few loud noises, the black mask instantly collapsed. How is that possible? The boss's formation was actually broken by them. The black-clothed woman's eyes widened in disbelief. The middle-aged man stared at Lum Wan with a little more scrutiny, and then, regardless of the sudden jump, he jumped to Lum Wan's side and wanted to capture him. His speed was too fast, and by the time Gu Xiu and the others responded, that person's hand was about to touch Lum Wan's shoulder. "Be careful," several people shouted. Lum Wan raised a sarcastic arc on her lips, but she didn't move. Just when everyone thought she would be captured, the red figure in front of the man disappeared like a ghost. When it reappeared, a golden sword chi attacked from behind the man, and he quickly retreated in shock. But it happened too quickly, and his previous focus was on catching Lum Wan, so he was still cut off by the golden sword energy. "What?" The middle-aged man quickly took out a bottle of medicine and poured it on the wound, but the blood from the broken arm stopped gushing out. "You, how can you be so fast?" He stared at the beautiful woman who smiled in horror. At this time, he could no longer feel much appreciation, only infinite heart palpitations. Lum Wan played with the small golden sword in his hand, and his red lips lightly opened. "A dead person can't take it into the coffin even if he knows so much." The man suddenly felt a chill on his back, and a shadow of death seemed to hang in his heart, just about to take a step back to the boss. Suddenly, golden vines emerged from the ground and dragged him directly into the soil. Then came his shrill screams, and the sound gradually decreased until it disappeared. "Don't save him." Lum Wan raised her eyes and looked at the man who was still leaning against the tree with a smile. "It's just a piece of trash. If you die, you will die. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world. BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant." Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 362. Lum Wan looked like a smile but not a smile. Gu Xiu and the others were deeply shocked by the calmness and strength he showed just now. From the moment they entered the enemy's formation trap, she was constantly thinking about the solution. When they were forced into despair by the opponent's various means, she took action. She broke the corpse owl and the formation with a single blow, and the conversation with that mysterious and powerful demon cultivator was like a peer-to-peer conversation, which shocked them. "That's right." Lum Wan nodded with a smile, then pointed at the woman who had wanted to disfigure her engines and said, "Are you going to want this waste too?" The man in black glanced at the woman with a completely twisted face, and said indifferently, "If you have the ability to take her life, it's up to you." His subordinates never leave useless people. After staying on this continent for so long, he has no feelings, let alone two subordinates who may betray him at any time. He knew exactly what the hearts of these two people were, and he had been hooked up with the second child behind his back, and wanted to take his place. A mocking cold arc evoked on his lips, dreaming. "Boss, are you going to give up on me?" The woman couldn't believe it, looking at the handsome man leaning lazily on the big tree, the man she really liked. The man in black frowned slightly. He hated the ugly woman's affectionate infatuation with him. The reason why she hooked up with the second child behind his back was to make him her cauldron on the day he was replaced and failed? It feels disgusting to think about. "Don't you see that your boss is disgusting with you?" Lu Muan sneered. The woman's eyes showed madness. She turned her head to look at Lu Muan and shouted, "I'm going to kill you." After waving the sword light, he slashed towards Lu Muan. Lu Muan curled her lips into a smile, and disappeared in a flash. The sword light naturally just slashed at the tree behind her. She has been doing tasks in the sect for half a year, and the fastest improvement is actually Shunbu's movement technique. Now, not only has she cultivated the instant technique to the highest level, but she has also created a set of movement techniques based on Shunpo, so this sword light is nothing to her. When she first reached the level of Jianzone, she was able to kill monsters at the level of Jianzun. At this time, she had successfully formed a pill, and it was very easy for her to deal with Jianzun like the woman on the opposite side. "You." The woman was stunned for a while, her heart was ruthless, and a pink smoke spewed out of her mouth. The smoke quickly turned into a long rainbow and wanted to wrap Lu Muan. Lu Muan's eyes froze. This pink smoke is a magic practice of magic, and the person who is sprayed will be infected with a kind of Y poison, and they will need to have sex with different men for the rest of their lives, otherwise, the meridians of the whole body will be broken and they will die. The woman knew that she might not be Lu Muan's opponent, so she tried her best to inspire the secret method. She wanted Lu Muan, the woman who had insulted her, to die. Don't the disciples of the 6 major sects claim to be clean and pure? Then she would want Lu Muan to be inseparable from men in the future, or a different man, so that she would be named a slut in the Beiji sect. Lu Muan could see what she was thinking. She knew this practice and knew how to crack it. A cluster of orange flames sprang from her palm, instantly covering the oncoming pink Changhong. For a moment, the pink smoke was completely dissipated by the spirit fire. Spirit fire is the nemesis of evil exorcises and ghosts in this world, and it can naturally burn this poisonous gas. "How is it possible that your spirit fire can crack my secret method?" The woman was startled and cried out. Every time she used this secret technique without fail, she even let a beautiful swordsman hit by a sneak attack, but she never expected to be broken by a little yellow-haired girl today. Lu Muan was too lazy to explain to her, so when her mind moved, the orange flame formed a rope of fire and instantly trapped the woman, who turned and ran away. The woman was bound by the spirit fire, her whole body was roasted, she only felt a burning pain, and couldn't help but let out a few shrill screams. When the spirit fire had almost tortured her, the bloody vines drilled out from the ground and dragged her into the ground to suck the essence and blood. From the beginning to the end, the man on the big tree did not intervene to help, but just watched all this indifferently. After Lu Muan finished dealing with the woman, he raised his eyes and looked at her. "Did you blow the flute that fought against me Xiao Shen before?" "Yes." Lu Muan nodded. "Very good, you are a good opponent." The man chuckled lightly from his thin lips. He looked at a colorful light that exploded in the sky not far away, and said meaningfully, "I look forward to seeing you next time." As soon as he finished speaking, before Lu Muan and the others could act, his entire body gradually became transparent, and finally disappeared on the tree. "Are we chasing?" Jins always felt that the man who disappeared was dangerous, but it would be even more dangerous if he didn't get rid of it. Lu Muan shook his head and said, "This is not his real body, it's useless to chase after him." "It seems that our task this time is very difficult," Pen Yang sighed as he looked at the place where the man disappeared. Gu Xiu looked at the colorful light not far away. Jianzong's disciples are in danger, let's go and help. Once the 6 missions are activated, no matter whether the disciples of the subordinates are compatible or not, one side must support from all sides, otherwise it will be handled according to the rules of the sect. Moreover, the relationship between Jianzong and Bajizong is not bad, they must go to this muddy water. Okay, the others did not object, and quickly followed Gu Xiu towards that direction. And this situation was also staged in the other 2 deep mountains, and the disciples of the 6 sects were all attacked by magic cultivators. Along the way, Lucia's eyes would fall on Lum Wen from time to time, with scrutiny and exploration. The speed of the reversal of the woman they initially thought was a drag was too fast to catch them off guard. At this time, they also thought that the sect master and several elders attached great importance to Lum Wen, not without reason, let alone because of Elder Ao Rong. Lum Wen didn't explain anything. She didn't care about what others thought of her. With these so-called brothers from the same class, her attitude was to make friends if they could, and it didn't matter if they couldn't. However, after today's battle, she left a deep influence on the hearts of several people, and they would no longer think that she was just a drag. When a few people arrived at the place where the colorful fireworks were released, they saw that the disciples of Jianzong were trapped in a formation, but it was different from Lum Wen and the others who were trapped. There was no restriction on isolation and transmission. At this time, the faces of Jianzong's people were pale, and at first glance, it was the appearance of Jingyuan being absorbed by the formation. Junior sister Lu, I'll trouble you about breaking the formation. Gu Xiu turned his head and looked at Lum Wen eagerly. Lum Wen nodded, okay, those demon cultivators are handed over to you. The few demon cultivators who trapped the disciples of the sword sect were at the same level as the 2 she killed, and there was no leader here. Lum Wen walked to the formation and took out the formation flag and began to break through the formation. Gu Xiu and the others also fought with the demons in full swing. After a while, Lum Wen broke the formation and rescued the disciples of Jianzong. The leading disciple of Jianzong thanked her and rushed out to help Gu Xiu and the others. After a short while, under the joint attack of the disciples of the sword sect and the Beiji sect, all the demon cultivators were beheaded on the spot. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 363. The disciples of Bajizong and Jianzong jointly beheaded the besieging demon cultivator, but they failed to leave a living whole. Both of them who were caught alive committed suicide. The leading disciple of Jianzong's face sank. It seems that these magic cultivators came prepared, and many mercenaries and loose cultivators died in their hands when we came. I don't know what happened to the other sects. Gu Xiu sighed, I can't ask for the news of the missing disciple if I don't live. Why don't we meet with other sects to discuss the countermeasures first? A disciple of Jianzong suggested. That's all. Gu Xiu nodded. After they entered this deep mountain, they encountered 2 waves of ambush attacks by magic cultivators. After Lum Wen cracked the formation, he leaned against a big tree and wrapped his arms around him thinking about things. I don't know what this junior sister is called. Thank you junior sister for breaking the formation and saving us. The leader of Jianzong walked up to Lum Wen and smiled at her. Lum Wen raised her head and smiled and said, my name is Lum Wen. It turned out to be junior sister Lu. You have long admired the name. You must be junior brother Lu Muibai's younger sister. The leader of the sword sect continued with a smile, my name is Han Yi. Senior brother Han, you know my brother. Lum Wen's face showed a bit of warmth when she heard Lu Muibai's name. Naturally, junior brother Lu has been accepted as a direct disciple by my master. He and I are senior brothers in the same school. Han Yi and Lu Muibai have a good relationship. After all, they are his younger junior brothers, so they usually take care of them. Lu Muan smiled, it turns out that my brother is so powerful. To be accepted as a direct disciple by a master of Jianzhong, Lu Muabai's talent and strength should be excellent in Jianzhong. When she was in the inn, Gu Xiu focused on introducing Lu Muan and the others about the other sect disciples who had been on the mission together, especially the leader disciple. That's why she knew that Han Yi was the strongest sword in the sword section, the direct disciple of the head of the academy. Junior brother Lu's talent is extraordinary. After he inspired the sword spirit body half a year ago, he was accepted as a direct disciple by the master. Only after winning the quota of inner disciples, he can enter the inner sect core courtyard to report. Lu Muabai came to Han Yi with a look of admiration in his eyes. Brother is the body of a sword spirit, Lu Muan asked in surprise. She had found out that Lu Muabai's physique was a little special, but she didn't expect the body of the sword spirit to be hidden. Han Yi smiled and nodded, well, junior brother Lu's sword spirit body was covered by the bloodline before, and it was also unintentionally inspired when he was doing a task for the section. So that's the case, then I'll have to trouble senior brother Han to take care of my brother 1 or 2. Lu Muan was happy with Lu Muabai's growth in her heart. After inspiring the sword spirit body, her brother's future achievements will be even further. Haha, don't say that Mubai is my little junior brother, just for the sake of junior sister Lu breaking out and saving us just now, I will also take care of junior brother Lu. What Han Yi said was not a lie. They were trapped in the formation before and only felt that their essence was constantly draining. If Lu Muan hadn't cracked the formation, they would have become mummified corpses now. Senior brother Han is too polite. Several major sects are tasked together, and it is also necessary to help each other. Lu Muan thought about it and took out a space ring and handed it to Han Yi with a smile. Senior brother Han, can you help me give this space ring to my brother? Inside the ring were a lot of medicinal pills and talismans she refined, and Lu Muabai would be of great help to him after getting it. Okay, I'll definitely bring it to you. Han Yi took the ring and put it away. Then Lu Muabai took out 2 bottles of medicinal pills and stuffed them into Han Yi. There are Peiwen pill and Huiwen pill in it, and they are of some use to senior brother. My brother will trouble you more in the future. She heard that Han Yi was very open in Jianzhong's inner sect, he was quite authoritative, and he was more upright. If Lu Muabai could get his care in the sect, he would have a better life. Han Yi was stunned for a moment, looked at the 2 bottles of medicinal pills with a half smile, and jokingly said, junior sister is bribing me? You can keep this medicinal pill for yourself. Senior brother even promised to help you take care of your brother, so you won't break your promise. Senior brother, as the saying goes, eating people's mouths is short and people's hands are soft, no merit is not rewarded. I am more at ease when you accept my elixir, Lu Muan said straight to the point. The other disciples were stunned when they heard her words, and couldn't help but twitch the corners of their mouths. Is it really good to openly bribe like this? Why do they envy Han Yi so much? Although the medicinal pill in his hand is only 3rd rank, it is very useful to sword masters who have cultivated sword masters. In particular, Napi Nguyen pill can not only consolidate the root and revive the essence and dredge the meridians, but also make Yuan Li more pure if taken for a long time. In the entire Tianling continent, this medicinal pill has long been robbed. Although the major sects are excited, they have not acted rashly because of the Underworld Alliance Chamber of Commerce standing behind Lu's medicinal pill shop. Since this is junior sister Lu's intention, brother Han should not refuse any more. Junior sister is not short of medicinal pills. Gu Xiu saw that Lu Muan attached great importance to that brother, he stepped forward and said with a smile. Haha. Han Yi laughed a few times and said cheerfully, okay, then I'll accept junior sister Lu's bribe, and junior brother Lu will take good care of me. Lu Muan's careless behavior has aroused the goodwill of several people. If she secretly seeks bribes from Han Yi, it will still arouse his disgust. After all, taking care of Lu Muabai is not a big deal, and there is no need to make it mysterious. Suyu, Suddenly the sky in the distance lit up with gorgeous colorful fireworks. This is the summoning signal of the heavenly secret palace, let's rush over and take a look. Han Yi looked up and said. Immediately, the disciples of the two sects rushed towards Fangxiang on the top of the mountain where the Tianji palace was located. Lum Wen broke the two formations, and all the evil spirits around the formation were sucked up by the people in the pendant. Now let's talk about your identity. Lum Wen spoke to the person in the pendant while rushing. The man in the pendant was silent for a moment before he said in a low voice, have you heard of the upper realm demon lord Luokan? Lum Wen turned to look at Mo Yan and asked with her eyes, she didn't know anything about the upper realm. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes narrowed, are you the demon lord Luokan of the demon domain? Heh, I didn't expect anyone to know my name until now. The man in the pendant laughed at himself, I was the former Mozhunjun Luokan, and the current Mozhun doesn't know who the flowers are. How was your body damaged? Have you been betrayed? Lum Wen didn't expect that this person was a demon venerable who once dominated a domain. When he sat in that position, his body was damaged, and most of them should have been betrayed by those close to him. She didn't know whether her luck was too good or too bad. Not only did she contract Mo Yan, the demon king in the demon domain, but now she has picked up a demon from the demon domain. Jun Luokan pondered for a while, and said with a chilling resentment in his voice, that's right, so I'm going back to the demon realm to take back the position of demon venerable, and send that person into the underworld to never be born again. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 364. Lum Wen could understand Jun Luokan's hostile voice. If she is betrayed by someone close to her, her body is destroyed, and her 7 souls and 6 souls are separated from her body, she will take all the grudges and go back to take back her own things when she gets the chance, and she will send the enemy to hell and will not survive. Is the demon cultivator in the deep mountains from your demon domain? Lum Wen asked. Jun Luokan snorted with disdain, just rely on them? I am from the upper realm, and they are just demons in the lower realm. Is the upper realm also divided into many interfaces? Lum Wen was actually curious about the upper realm in their mouths. Jun Luokan was slightly surprised to hear her question, apparently she didn't expect that she didn't know about the upper realm. Didn't the demon king on your shoulder tell you? Lum Wen glared at Mo Yan with her beautiful eyes, he said he would tell me when I had the strength. It's time for her to know, you tell her. Mo Yan's voice sounded faintly. Now Lum Wen, this woman, has provoked the demon venerable of the demon domain. Once the two cooperate, they will definitely go back to the upper realm in the future. The upper realm is called the Guangling realm. There are not many interfaces, but there are 4 major areas, namely the human realm, the demon realm and the sea area. Jun Luokan paused and continued, although the Guangling world is only divided into 4 major regions, the area is very vast and boundless. If a high-level swordsman wants to travel through the entire Guangling world, I heard that it will take at least 1,000 years. Or on the premise of not encountering danger and resistance. Is the sea area where the Sea clan lives? Lum Wen asked after thinking for a while. She was not surprised by the vastness of the Guangling world. After all, the area of the spiritual world that she once lived in was also vast and boundless, with numerous races. Yes, among the 4 major domains, the Sea clan is the strongest existence, but there are traces of the Sea clan on your interface. It's useless for you to know the other news now. You will know it naturally when you reach the Guangling realm, Jun Luokan replied. Lum Wen raised her eyebrows, but didn't ask any more questions. Now she still has so many things to deal with on this interface, and she doesn't have much energy to devote to the ethereal upper bound, so she only knows one thing. Lum Wen chatted with Jun Luokan along the way, and learned a lot about magic cultivation. After half a day, they arrived at the location where the Tianji Palace signal was released. At this time, the disciples of several other sects were already waiting there, but except for the disciples of the Tianji Palace, the disciples of other sects were relatively embarrassed, and even the number of personnel was severely reduced. "Are you all right?" the leader of Hao Yuezong couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw that Gu Xiu and the others were not only unharmed but also safe. Gu Xiu snorted coldly, "Do you really want to see something happen to us?" "He, how could it be?" Hao Yuezong's disciple also knew that he had made a blunder, and smiled embarrassingly, but he was secretly resentful. This time, their Hao Yu sect suffered the heaviest losses. Not only did they lose 3 inner disciples, but they also lost 2 holy treasures before beheading those demon cultivators. "Brother Qi must have something important to call us here, right?" Han Yi stepped forward and asked the cultivator in Qinghua. Ming Xiu stood with his hands behind his back, his handsome face showing a rare dignified expression. "We caught a leader of the group of demon cultivators, and we found from him that the missing disciples of the 6 sects are now trapped in Xianxia Cliff." "What? You're actually trapped in Xianxia Cliff?" the leading disciple of the Imperial Beast sect exclaimed. Xianxia Cliff was different from the 3 mountains they had visited before. It was the most dangerous place in Luogui River. The evil spirit at the bottom of the cliff is even the strong sword saints dare not go deep. Aren't they courting death? Are we going to Xianxia Cliff? That place is not something we can go to, the leading disciple of Hao Yuezong immediately objected. They have already damaged 3 people, and if they go to Xianxia Cliff, there may be no return. Ming Xiu glanced at the 2 of them indifferently. The place where the missing disciple is trapped is not at the top of the Xianxia Cliff, and it is still some distance away. Now that we have accepted the mission, we should go and check it out. Of course, if any of your disciples wants to back down, I won't stop me." His eyes were dull, but he held a look of contempt, which made several leading disciples feel pressured. "Our Beiji sect will never back down," Gu Xiu said without hesitation. Han Yi then said, "Our sword sect will not back down." "Let's go to Yaozong's," leading disciple said with a frown. After listening to the promise of the 3, Ming Xiu nodded with satisfaction, and turned his eyes to the disciples of Hao Yu sect and Imperial Beast sect. Under his pressure, the 2 leading disciples could only grit their teeth and agree, "Naturally we will not back down." "Very well, don't delay any longer, and leave now." Ming Xiu retracted his gaze and disappeared in the space first. The disciples of the other sects did not dare to neglect, and quickly followed. Lum Wan pouted, "Ming Xiu looks like a king wherever he goes." "Smoke, did you find anything?" A magnetic clear voice suddenly sounded in her mind. "I think the magic cultivator had ulterior motives for trapping the missing disciple on the Xianxia Cliff. Maybe he deliberately diverted our vision." Lum Wan pondered for a moment and replied. The eyes of Ming Xiu in the front were filled with a smile. Yes, their purpose should be for the soon-to-be-born obsidian fluorite in Luogui River. "You asked the disciples of the 6 major sects to go to the Xianxia Cliff to investigate on purpose to let those demon cultivators relax their vigilance." Lum Wan always knew that the cultivators were very scheming. "Well, after arriving at Xianxia Cliff, we will act according to the opportunity. When the birth time of the obsidian fluorite you estimate is approaching, we will come to tune the tiger away from the mountain and go back and grab it." Ming Xiu never hides his dark side in front of Lum Wan. "One side." Lum Yu's lips raised an arc. "What about the disciples of other sects? It's enough to ensure their safety. If you want to get a share of the pie, you have to see if they have the ability." Ming Xiu obviously didn't take the other disciples of the 6 sects seriously. He has this arrogant capital. Lum Wan was not prepared to share the heaven-level spirits with other disciples of the sect so generously. Those who could grab her would not destroy her, but they would not help either. She has reached the pinnacle of the realm of comprehension with the water attribute Yuan Li. She can enter Dachan with just an opportunity. It is necessary to have a handy water attribute natal magic weapon. I met an extraordinary incarnation of a demon cultivator before, and it exudes a strong aura. If the real body comes to snatch the obsidian fluorite, we may be in some trouble. Lum Wen remembered that the man in black reminded the cultivator. Road. Ming Xiu's eyes concealed a very faint fighting intent, and his thin lips overflowed in an arc. Isn't it too boring to have no strong opponent to snatch the obsidian fluorite? That's right, the Luogui River will be very interesting in a few days. Lum Wen also showed an eager look. She liked to join in the fun the most. Besides, the obsidian fluorite was not even discovered by the magic cultivator before it was born. Those who saw it had a share, so she and Ming cultivator made a deal. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world. BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 365. Xianxia Cliff is deep in the forest directly opposite the Luogui River. The disciples of the six sects came along and encountered a lot of miasma and monsters. After that, they were attacked by 6 waves of magic cultivators in a row. Once they entered the opponent's formation, they didn't need to break the formation at all. Ming Xiu could find the weak point and cut through the formation with his own strength. Under the great power of Ming Xiu, not a single disciple was injured. The impressive strength he showed also completely shocked the disciples of the 6 major sections. The number 1 disciple of the inner sect of the Tianji Palace was indeed well deserved. Ming Xiu's white clothes are out of the dust, and his steps are light, like an exiled immortal, noble, giving people a feeling of unattainability, which makes many female disciples who want to come forward and show it off, and can only watch dumbfoundedly. His figure became more and more obsessed. Lum Wen's eyes are clear and clear. She really has a love between men and women for Ming Xiu, and she wants to find a man who can stand side by side and pursue the Dao together. Ming Xiu was the first man who made her heart move. The feeling was amazing, and it was a bit exaggerated to fall in love at first sight, but it was true that she was moved unconsciously in the few meetings. Of course, she is not a daughter who needs to cling to a man to survive. In addition, most of the relationships established between them are based on feelings, and they have never experienced life and death together, so she now has feelings for meditation. It's not very deep, and it's even less likely that he's lost his way because of him. Strengthening the Dao heart and pursuing the Dao of the ultimate powerhouse is still her biggest pursuit at present. Brother Kai's formation skills are too strong. Could it be that he is already a 5th level formation wizard? Han Yi saw Ming Xiu splitting a large formation again and easily strangling the 3 junior sword master demons who attacked. Suppressed the vibration in his heart and asked with a smile. Ming Xiu replied with a light smile, it is true that he has been promoted to the 5th level array mage. Han Yi's temptation was also what other people thought, and many disciples took a deep breath when they learned that he was already a 5th level formation master. He was only 22 years old when he was talented in the formation technique, and he was so accomplished that he could be as beautiful as the number 1 formation among the inner sect disciples of the Beiji sect. Lum Wen's eyes overflowed with a little smile. Ming Xiu only said that he was a 5th level formation mage, and these people were shocked. If he knew that this fellow was already a 7th level formation mage, he would not have been shocked. Not to mention the cultivator, she is already a 5th level formation mage, it seems that there is no fuss. If the disciples of the 6 major sects who specialize in the formation method hear Lum Wen's ventriloquism, they will not be beaten to death. Who can compare with the 2 perverts? Wherever the 5th level wizards go in the entire Tianling continent, they are the objects that others cater to, and they can also become more powerful elders in the alliance of the wizards. Brother Kai's talent for array formation is really unreliable. Gu Xiu quickly restrained the shock in his eyes and said with a smile, I heard that Brother Qi had been promoted to a 5th rank item refiner a year ago. I'm afraid it's not far from the 6th grade now, right? There is still some distance. Ming Xiu smiled lightly and did not say much. It was not easy for the others to ask any more questions, but they were all amazed, and an unsurpassable sense of respect for him grew in their hearts. Ming Xiu is known as the number 1 person in the inner door of the Heavenly Secret Palace not only because of his talent in formation and refining, but also because of his talent in cultivation. Mingxiu, has your item refining technique reached the 7th rank? Lum Wan said through a voice transmission. Mingxiu's eyes as deep as stars melted into a soft color. I just entered the 7th rank some time ago. Perverted Lum Wan raised her eyebrows and uttered 2 words after a moment. You must know that the highest evaluation level of the refining technique in Tianling continent is only 10th grade, and it is said that the first person in the mainland is only 8th grade refiner. It is not impossible to break through 10th grade with the powerful talent of Mingxiu. You can also refine 6th grade medicinal pills, right? Mingxiu's gentle and clear voice carried a smile. Well, I can barely make a 6th grade medicinal pill. The firmness in Lum Wan's eyes became even stronger. She also cultivated to the stage of forming a pill before refining the 6th grade medicinal herbs, and she had to use spirit fire to assist her, so her strength still needed to be strengthened. Her cultivation speed is already very fast in the eyes of others, but in fact it is the result of her constant suppression, otherwise she is afraid that she has advanced to the peak of Jian Zone now. Your talent for alchemy is really strong. Mingxiu didn't expect Lum Wan to actually be able to refine a 6th grade medicinal pill. The fact that his formation and refining equipment can reach level 7 is not simply because of his excellent talent. There is also something to rely on, and her talent for alchemy can't help but be amazed even in his capacity. By the way, what level of magic weapon is the ice bracelet you gave me? Lum Wan thought about it and asked the question in her heart. Mingxiu heard the word ice bracelet and glanced at sweeping Lum Wan's wrist, with a smile like a spring breeze on his lips. I'm not sure, but the ice bracelet was passed down as a treasure by my mother. At least it's an artifact. He didn't want to show off to Lum Wan how valuable the things he gave her, but hoped that she would better understand the magic of the ice bracelet. Aren't you afraid of punishment for giving me the treasure of your mother's family? Lum Wan's brows were a little tight. This is what my mother gave me to give to my future daughter-in-law. Since I have decided on you, it is naturally yours. Mingxiu did not hide it. Lum Wan twitched at the corner of his mouth. It seems that the ice bracelet was given to me when we first met, right? Could it be that you fell in love with this girl then? At that time, I only thought you were more interesting, and I didn't really like it, but there was a voice in my heart that asked me to give it to you. Later, it was proved that the judgment in my heart was correct. You are the woman I want to find for my life. Mingxiu's tone is sincere, and it is indeed from the heart. Lum Wan chuckled and teased, it seems that this girl is so charming that you fell in love with me the first time. Mingxiu listened to her silver bell-like laughter, and if it wasn't for the wrong occasion, he really wanted to put her in his arms and hug him tightly. My woman is naturally charismatic. You're enough. Lum Wan found that Mingxiu's love words made her almost unable to resist, and she was too thick-skinned. I said it according to my heart. The corners of Mingxiu's lips rose again. Lum Wan smiled and changed the subject. Do you know the purpose of the ice bracelet? I know a little, Mingxiu said. The ice bracelet is an ancestral thing of my mother's family, and it is only passed on to my daughter-in-law. Although it has been passed down for dozens of generations, the person who can really make it recognize the master has always been No. I heard from my mother that when the ice bracelet is turned on, it has the effect of inducing the growth of spirit grass. As for the more usefulness, we can only know after recognizing the master. If the ice bracelet recognizes the master, as the cultivation level increases, it will gradually be used. Open, there must be unexpected surprises. Mingxiu finished in one breath. Lum Wan was stunned. What surprised her most was that the ice bracelets had been passed down for so many generations and none of them had succeeded in recognizing their masters. But she was obviously connected with the ice bracelet, and the soft kindness that the ice bracelet exuded to her showed that it had recognized her as the master. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, Trash Against the World, BlackBelly Evil Wife is Too Arrogant Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 366. Seeing that Lum Wan's eyes showed a bit of a different color, Ming Xiu flicked the sleeve of his left hand, and a blue bracelet similar to an ice bracelet suddenly appeared on his wrist. I also have a pair of blue and ice bracelets, can you see that? The two were on their way with the others, one after the other, and they used their divine sense to transmit sound. Lum Wan lowered her eyes and saw the blue bracelet that suddenly appeared on Ming Xiu's wrist. Can you see it? Can you hide it? Yan, it seems that we are really destined to be a natural couple. Ming Xiu's voice was filled with a rare excitement. The only men and women who can recognize the masters of the blue bracelet and the ice bracelet at the same time are only the two of us. Is this pair of bracelets made by someone from your mother's clan? Lum Wan asked curiously. To be able to refine such powerful artifacts and even divine treasures, how high is the level and talent of that artificer? It is said that an almighty in my mother's family made it to give to his beloved woman, but when he made this pair of bracelets, his lover died in an accident. And that almighty was buried with his body. The blood essence of the two people finally merged into this pair of bracelets, and they became artifact spirits. He left a legacy before his death. Every generation of family heirs can refine the blue bracelet and give the ice bracelet to the woman in his heart. If both of them can get the recognition of the bracelet, they don't need to pass it on. But if one party cannot recognize the master, then the pair of bracelets must be passed on to the next generation to continue the inheritance, until the day when the two bracelets recognize the master together, Ming Xiu said leisurely. Lum Wan didn't expect the ice bracelet to have such a story, so it is. Well, we are their destined people, Ming Xiu smiled happily. By the way, after your cultivation base reaches Sword Sovereign, as long as you open the bracelet to the second layer, you can hide it freely, even if it is Sword God. Can't find it? And looking at the tall and straight man, Mu Yan whispered softly. Judging from the rank of the two bracelets, they are not only mysterious but also of high rank, and they don't look like something that this continent should have. The identity of Ming Xiu is not as simple as the Emperor Ming, the master of the 9 layers hall of Tianling continent. The corner of Lum Wan's lips hooked. She knew that Ming Xiu hoped that she would get to know him a little bit, and she would naturally not live up to his expectations. One day, she will reveal his true identity little by little, and she likes to deepen her love for him in this way. How boring it would be if the secrets of the two were exposed and spread out in front of each other. She rubbed the ice bracelet and felt its joy for her, and the curvature of the corners of her lips gradually deepened. She was looking forward to the surprises when the second layer of the ice bracelet was opened. When the few people reached the top of the mountain, they saw the missing disciples of the 6 major sects all lying unconscious on a huge stone. They are actually here. The leading disciple of Hao Yuezong glanced at the abyss surrounded by yin and evil energy in the distance, looked at the disciple lying on the boulder with complicated eyes, and asked Ming Xiu, let us do this, it's easy to find, is there any fraud? They've tried their best to lead us to come here, the purpose is definitely not pure, everyone should be careful. Ming Xiu nodded and said, Papa. Then a clapping sounded, and a handsome man in purple loomed out of the boulder. He looked at them deeply and said, the 6 sects are the top forces of the Tianling continent, you have arrived. It's a lot faster than I expected. With his appearance, all the men in black lurking around came out. Who are you? What is the purpose of bringing us here? Ming Xiu looked at the man and asked lightly. The man in purple smirked a few times. Naturally, it is the one who will kill you. Then a man in black behind him leaned into his ear and said, Second Commander, the formation has been activated. Good job. The purple-clothed man smiled and patted the shoulder of the person beside him, but then he grabbed the person's neck and said, you should sacrifice for the ghost beast as a sacrifice. As soon as the purple-clothed man's voice fell, Lum Wan and the others saw that he twisted the man's neck and patched it up, and then threw it in front of them. Blood flowed from the man's body, and instantly a bloody smell spread here. A black mask rose from the ground and tried to trap the disciples of the 6 major sects in it. Both Mingxiu and Lum Wan noticed the change. Be careful. Hurry up and spread out. After Mingxiu reminded the others, he dodged and fell beside Lum Wan, and took her into his arms. When he reappeared, he was already beside the boulder, and the others didn't have such a reaction speed, so they were all trapped in the formation. Of course, the two didn't hug each other when they reappeared. At the moment of danger, the first thing that Mingxiu thought of was Lum Wan, and his actions moved with his mind and took her away. In fact, Lum Wan was also ready to escape, but Mingxiu took a step faster and took her out of the range of the formation. The smell of blood became stronger and stronger, the black light of the formation flowed, and a deep black beast suddenly drilled down from the ground and sucked out the soul of the dead man in black and swallowed it. What the hell is this? The leading disciple of Hao Yuezong saw the black giant beast that emerged from the hole was covered with gloomy scales, and its eyes were not only the size of a bucket but also glowed with green light. Very infiltrating. Jin Se gave him a white look, and said in a sullen mood, "The man said just now that he would make a sacrifice for the ghost beast. This monster must have been born in the legend to devour the souls of humans and monsters. A live ghost beast. The yin beast is a kind of soul beast cultivated by a demon cultivator. It is powerful and ferocious by nature. The conditions for nurturing are very harsh. The growth of yin beasts is extremely sinister, and it must erode and devour the souls of just dead monsters and human swordsmen in order to promote the improvement of cultivation." Tisk tisk, I didn't expect that there is a different person in this group of trash. The man in purple casually glanced at the person trapped in the formation, and then locked his eyes on the absolutely temperamental Mingxiu. Because he had seen Mingxiu move Lum Wan away from the formation before, and her cultivation level was average, he was directly ignored by him. In his eyes, Lum Wan is a woman who clings and relies on meditation with her beauty. Those scattered cultivators and mercenaries who disappeared and died are the ones that you set up a trap to introduce into the formation to let the ghost beasts swallow their souls. You are counted. Yes, the ghost beast is about to advance, but it lacks the energy it needs to upgrade, and the talented disciples of your 6 sects will be its greatest nourishment. The purple-clothed man showed a strange smile on his face. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world. BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 367. The ghost beasts cultivated and bred by the purple-clothed man and others have reached the peak of the 7th order, and they must devour enough 8th order monsters or sword masters who have cultivated sword masters to advance. The 8th order monsters are hidden in dense or dangerous places all over the continent, and it is naturally impossible for the magic cultivators to take great risks to find and kill them. First, the 8th order monsters are not stupid. They will stay where they are and let you catch them. Second, even if they fall into the formation they set up, there will only be one, and it will take a lot of time and energy. This kind of business absolutely at a loss. The human swordsmen are different. They design to attract elite disciples from various sects, and they can be trapped by a single formation. As long as the ghost beast devours and refines all the spirits of all the disciples, it will definitely advance within a year to the 8th level. If you want to turn us into the nourishment of the ghost beast, it depends on whether you have that ability. Mingxiu raised his eyebrows. From Lum Wan Sea of Consciousness came Jun Luoqin's voice, "Little girl, that ghost beast is a great supplement to me. As long as I devour it and refine it, my main soul will be completely solidified and stabilized." "You mean you want me to give you that ghost beast to nourish you?" Lum Wan rolled her eyes. "Hey, don't worry, after my main soul consolidates, your benefits will be indispensable," Jun Luoqin said. He can't do anything about it, even if the main soul is in a state of collapse. Even if it changes from a demon cultivator to a ghost cultivator, he can't easily do it. But as long as he devours this ghost beast, he can completely solidify his soul, and he can even help Lum Wan to deal with high-level sword cultivators. Lum Wan weighed the pros and cons in his heart. Although there are great hidden dangers lurking in saving a demon venerable, the interests also coexist. In the future, she will also fly to the Guangling world, and it will be extremely interesting to take Mo Jun and Mo Yan to kill them back to retrieve their original things. Okay, I'll devour this ghost beast that was delivered to your door. You will do 3 things for me in the future, Lum Wan added after a while. Of course I won't let you die. The corner of Jun Luoqin's mouth twitched. Since he became a demon lord for so many years, no one has dared to speak to him in such a tone. Lum Wan is really the first. Okay, I promise you. Swear with your heart, demon, Lum Wan said. Jun Luoqin gritted his teeth and asked, you don't believe me? Do you think that a decent disciple of mine would believe in you, a demon race? Not to mention that you are a former demon venerable, Lum Wan said casually. Her nature is actually very cold, and only those who truly have entered her heart will give full trust, and this demon venerable is obviously not included. The inner demon oath is very poisonous, and no one or monster dares to violate it. Unless the person who took the oath did not want to advance, once he violated the oath he made with his inner demon, the shadow of the flying demon would make trouble at the critical moment of promotion. Not only would he fail to advance successfully, he might also lose his intelligence and become a puppet. Jun Luoqin choked. Although he cooperated with Lum Wan, he didn't trust her very much. The relationship they established was not very reliable, they just used each other. Okay, I swear by my heart, demon, Jun Luoqin swore without hesitation. At this time, the man in purple had already activated the formation, and circles of black cyclones appeared in the formation. The disciples of the 6 sects only felt that the essence of their bodies was fading little by little. Although the speed was very slow, it was enough to make them terrified. Qisiu, save us quickly, the leading disciple of Hao Yuezong shouted in a hurry. The purple-clothed man raised a sinister arc on his lips, pointing at Mingxiu and instructing the men in black around him, you treat him well. Obviously, in his eyes, meditation is not qualified to let him take action. Can you break that formation? Mingxiu asked Lum Wan sideways. Lum Wan nodded, yes. If she no longer hides the talent and strength of the formation, it is not difficult for her to quickly break the formation. I'm holding on to these demon cultivators, you go and rescue them first. Mingxiu's eyes were full of trust. It is good. Lum Wan took the golden longsword in his hand and walked towards the formation, but the men in black ignored her existence and attacked Mingxiu directly. I was ignored by them. Lum Wan twitched the corner of his mouth, looked at Mo Yan on his shoulder and asked, how bad am I? Mo Yan's light eyes were full of smiles. Don't you like to play pigs and eat tigers the most, isn't that right? But it doesn't feel good to be ignored by everyone. Lum Wan shrugged and joked. The man in purple naturally saw Lum Wan's actions but ignored it. Joke, a girl with only Jian zone cultivation base has the ability to break the 5th level formation? Yes, this time they arranged a 5th level formation on the top of the mountain. After all, the 6 trapped disciples of the 6 sects were basically swordsmen. It's impossible to trap it to death. The 5th level formation is different. Even if a strong swordsman level arrives for a while, it will be difficult to break. Lum Wan walked to the formation and took out the formation plate, squatted down and looked around, while Mingxiu beheaded all the men in black who besieged him. The man in purple did not expect that the cultivator would have such a powerful strength, and snorted coldly, let me clean up your thorn today. After saying a flash, he met Mingxiu's sword energy, and Mingxiu deliberately moved his position, keeping the purple-clothed man away from the vicinity and letting Lum Wan play. The two fought hard near Xianxia Cliff. Try attacking this point. Lum Wan pointed to a point in the corner of the formation and raised his head to say to the people inside. The leading disciple of Hao Yuezong sneered, I don't know the so-called yellow-haired girl, do you think you can become a high-level array mage with an array plate? This is a 5th level array. If you are interested, get out of the way. They are trapped in a formation that can devour the essence, and if they use the energy, they will speed up the swallowing speed of the formation. If you really listen to this 8 extreme sect girl, they are fools. Lum Wan's eyes turned cold, and his temperament changed. He looked sharply at Hao Yuezong's leading disciple and said, "Shut up if you don't want to die." If it weren't for the disciples of the Beiji sect trapped in the formation, she would not have rescued the people of the Haoyu sect. Of course, she remembered when he told her to go away just now. How dare you talk to me like that?" The leading disciple of Hao Yuezong didn't expect the girl outside to be so bold and tough, but the other party's eyes made him tremble. Lum Wan was too lazy to pay attention to him. Now is not the time for bickering. She shifted her gaze to Gu Xiu and Han Yi, and said lightly, "Just do as I say if you think of it." If these people believe her, she will naturally break through with all her strength, and if they don't believe it, she will be too lazy to care. This formation is a soul-locking formation. The key point is to lock the souls of the trapped people. It is better to attack and break the formation from the formation. If it would take half an hour to break through the formation by relying on her ability, the people inside would have lost at least 1/3 of their energy at that time, but if they attacked from the inside and outside, it would only take a stick of incense. It all depends on whether the people trapped in the formation believe her. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 368. Lum Wan played with the array plate in his hand and looked at Gu Xiu and the two of them in a hurry. "Junior sister Lu, how confident are you that you can break this formation?" Gu Xiu's question represented the voice of everyone here. If they use UN force to break the formation according to the position pointed out by Lum Wan, and then the other formation is not broken, their essence will be lost faster, and they must be careful about things that do not worth the loss. 10% Lum Wan said calmly and confidently. "Speak madly," the leading disciple of Hao Yu sect sneered disdainfully. "Today, even if the 5th level formation mage of the sect came here, I dare not say that I have a 100% chance of breaking the formation, let alone you don't know where you came from." The yellow-haired girl who came out. Lum Wan was too lazy to pay attention to him, wrapped his arms around his hands and looked at the people inside indifferently. "If you listen to me, you can come out within a stick of incense. If you don't believe me, then you can slowly play in the formation. You can break this formation in just 1 stick of incense." "How is that possible?" Yaozong's consular disciple asked in disbelief. Lum Wan squinted her eyes, smiled sweetly, and her face instantly turned cold. "Believe it or not, I count 3 times. If you haven't decided yet, just stay in the formation and enjoy the disappearance of essence." Everyone was stunned when they watched her change her face faster than turning over a book. 1, 2, 3. Lum Wan counted from 1 to 3 without the slightest hesitation and immediately turned to leave. "Junior sister Lu, wait," Gu Xiu's voice sounded eagerly. Lum Wan turned around and looked at a few people playfully. "Just be a man, just give me a word if you can't break through the formation. Can't you be cautious as a man?" "I believe junior sister Lu." Jin smiled enchantingly, with an extra long sword in his hand. Several people from the 8 extreme sect glanced at each other, gritted their teeth and said, "We believe in junior sister." At this time, Mingxiu and the purple-clothed man were fighting so hard that they had yet to decide the outcome. What surprised them the most was that the man's cultivation base was already half a foot into the juggernaut, and they wanted to defeat or strike him. "It's hard to kill." Han Yi also said immediately, "Instead of being trapped to death and draining the essence, it is better to give it a shot. Junior sister Lu, we will listen to you." Although the disciples of Tianji Palace and Yaozong did not believe that Lum Wan could break through the formation, they could only grit their teeth when they felt the essence lost from their bodies. "You actually believe this?" Yellow-haired girl, the disciple of Hao Yu sect, looked at the disciples of other sects in disbelief and asked. "What if you don't believe it?" Ming Xiu and the demon cultivator can't tell the difference in a short period of time. It's better to fight to the death rather than sit still. Otherwise, when the essence is drained by this formation, we will become mummified corpses. Han Yi snorted coldly. He also disliked the leading disciple of Hao Yuezong this time. Seeing that several people were still discussing, Lum Wan frowned and said impatiently, "Do you still want to break it? Or should I come back after you've discussed it? These men are too mammy to do things. If they don't break the formation, they will die. Now they have a chance to attack the formation to help her break the formation. I don't know what they have to worry about." Broken. Although Gu Xiu didn't know much about Lum Wan, he also knew her temperament. If she went under the ink, she would definitely turn around and leave. "Are we just attacking this place?" Lum Wan nodded, took out a black array flag and planted it on the ground. "Just attack the position of this array flag, don't keep your hands. If you have fire energy, try to use fire energy." Ro. Although they didn't hold out much hope, the disciples of several major sects all took out magic weapons to bombard the weak point of the formation that Lum Wan said. A disciple of Hao Yuezong said to the leader, "Senior brother, instead of dying here, let's try it." Attack. The leading disciple of Hao Yuezong's face darkened and he took a deep breath. After Lum Wan gave her order, the disciples who were trapped in the six sects took out their magic weapons to attack the weak point she was looking for. She was not idle either. She took out a broken array flag that kept changing positions, and the knots on her hand were continuously injected into the array flag. "It will break if you work harder," Lum Wan said to the people inside after arranging the formation to stabilize. As soon as his mind moved, 10 golden flying swords came out in unison, hitting that weak point with a slam. At this time, the disciples of the six sects could only listen to Lum Wan's command, no longer hide their strength, and inject 100% of their power to attack the formation. Before the time for a stick of incense came, everyone heard boom, a few times. Then a golden light flickered, and I saw 10 golden flying swords breaking through the black light curtain of the formation from the weak point. "Quick, let's help her together," Gu Xiu shouted with joy on his face. There was an unspeakable excitement on the faces of the others, and they continued to wave the magic weapon to bombard the formation. After a while, the black light curtain was completely blown away and collapsed by the inside and outside. As soon as the formation was broken, the man in purple who was fighting Ming Xiu suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood. He hurriedly covered his chest and stepped back dozens of meters, looking at Lum Wan gloomily. "I didn't expect you to break my soul-locking formation, you should be damned." Lum Wan looked at him without fear, and raised her eyebrows. "Haven't you heard that a person can't look good, and the sea can't be measured? Your mistake is that you underestimate the enemy." Immediately she walked towards the direction of the fight between the two. Her voice was clear with endless coldness. "I don't know if I should die, but you will never live today." In her life, she hated the 3 words "damn you" when others said to her. This man completely violated her bottom line. Extremely arrogant, the purple-clothed man's face was full of sullenness. "I'll deal with you now." This woman broke his soul-locking formation and all his plans were a complete failure. He was so completely ignoring her just now, and he regretted it. I knew earlier that he should have killed her with one palm before going to deal with the exiled man. "Your opponent is me." Ming Xiu dodged and blocked in front of the man in purple who wanted to attack Lum Wan. The man in purple looked at Ming Xiu with dread. He was already a half-sacred practitioner, but not only did he not gain the slightest advantage in the battle with this man who was only at the peak of Sword Sovereign's cultivation, but he had a tendency to lose, which made him feel a little bit. "Retreat. Yin Soul Beast, kill that woman." The purple-clothed man looked at the disciples who came out of the formation, still unwilling to miss this opportunity to raise the Shadow Soul Beast. The ghost beast, lying on the ground lazily waiting for the formation to run and feed, couldn't sit still when the formation was broken. Now that it heard the master's order, it rushed towards Lum Wan with a roar. Be careful. Gu Xiu and the others saw that the size of the ghost beast instantly increased dozens of times, and a deep and sharp claws grabbed towards Lum Weian, and they couldn't help holding their breath and shouting. Ming Xiu's eyes turned cold, and he was about to step back to rescue when he heard Lum Weian's voice transmission. I can deal with the ghost beast, you should kill the purple-clothed man. The man in purple should be the second commander of the few people she met before. If he doesn't kill him today and let him go back and report the letter, it must be a hidden danger. Ming Xiu paused and responded, okay. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world. BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 369. When Ming Xiu heard Lum Weian's confident voice transmission, he immediately retracted his steps and looked at the man in purple with cold eyes. He didn't immediately deal with this person before. First, he didn't want to reveal too much strength, and second, he wanted Lum Weian to be rescued by the 6 disciples. Now that the man controls the ghost beast to attack his woman, he is already a dead person in his eyes. The formation has been broken, and he doesn't need to be polite. A golden giant sword fell in his hand. Unlike the natal magic weapon that Lum Weian refined with extremely cold golden marrow, Ming Xiu's natal magic weapon was obviously of a higher level. The golden sword crossed an arc, and a dazzling golden light like the direct sunlight fell straight down, instantly covering the man in purple. At the same time, the sharp claws of the ghost beast also fell on the top of Lum Weian's head. She didn't dodge, her lips curled up with a slight arc, and a faint orange soft light covered her hands. Since she got the orange flame, she no longer hides the fact that she has a spirit fire, which can just cover up the aura of the purple gold spirit fire. Boom! Just when everyone thought Lum Weian would be torn to pieces by the claws of the cloud beast, they saw that she would not retreat but advance. A fist with a soft orange light slammed out, and went straight to the black scale armor. Claws. There was a kind of horror in the green eyes of the ghost beast. It didn't expect that a weak woman on the opposite side not only caught its sharp claws, but also punched a flame with destructive power into it through that punch. In vivo. Ow, the piercing pain made him yell. A cluster of orange flames flew up along its claws continuously, and stopped when it landed on its ghost. Seeing this, Lum Weian jumped up immediately, punching the weakest point of the Yin Soul Beast's body with a punch. Her figure was constantly flashing in the air, and every time the ghost beast appeared, she would be attacked by the fist wind. Ow, the ghost beast still had the domineering aura it had when it appeared. It kept dodging, and every time it was bombarded, it would make a miserable cry, obviously being beaten by Lum Weian. Then, that woman turned out to be a body cultivator, a disciple of Hao Yuezhan couldn't help swallowing while watching the unilateral beating in midair. Oh my god. Junior sister Lu is so violent. Pen Yang felt a chill on his back, and decided in his heart that he would never provoke Lum Weian. Gu Xiu went to the competition space and knew how strong Lum Weian's body was, but he didn't expect to face the ghost beast with an immortal body and a body comparable to the 8th order monster. Blind eyes. Jin's eyes lit up, full of admiration and excitement. Junior sister is mighty. The disciples of other sects dared not underestimate her since Lum Weian broke the 5th level soul locking formation in just one stick of incense. Seeing her such a violent fighting style at this time felt eye-opening. At the same time, a deep fear arose. The leading disciple present, like Gu Xiu, found out the identity of the opponent's disciple when they were in the inn. They knew that Lum Weian was the first place in the Tianling Continent tournament, but they really didn't expect her combat power would be so strong. Ow, the ghost beast stabbed all over, and it found that the woman's fist was too powerful. Not only does it carry a kind of sword chi fist style, but it also uses spiritual fire to protect the fist. If the spiritual fire in the body is not forced out, it is afraid that it will be damaged here today. Suddenly, it stared at Green Yu's big eyes and looked at the purple-clothed man covered in golden light, and the connection between master and servant was completely cut off. It was overjoyed, and it would no longer have to be controlled by that person in the future. With another punch, the ghost beast was blasted more than 10 meters away, its eyes turned, and with the force of that retrogression, it turned and ran away into the distance. Want to run? It's not that easy. Lum Wan snorted coldly and turned into a red light to chase after him. In my heart, I couldn't help but praise the ghost beast, it's really good. She was thinking about how to avoid the eyes of the disciples of the sixth sex and let Jun Luokan absorb and refine the ghost beast, but it fled to the distance on its own initiative, justifying her bosom. At this time, Lum Wan's Shunbu had already completed, and he soon caught up with the ghost beast in a deserted jungle. When she was moved, clusters of orange flames formed a hot ribbon and flew out, instantly tying the ghost beast upright. Jun Luokan, you still haven't come out to supplement, Lum Wan shouted. Before she could finish her voice, a black smoke emerged from the pendant around her neck, instantly covering the ghost beast. Not long after, Lum Wan heard a desperate scream from the ghost beast, and then her body continued to shrink. When it was only the size of a palm, she was swept by the black smoke and got into her pendant. Are you finished? Lum Wan asked Jun Luokan. Jun Luokan in the pendant is still hidden in the black mist, his figure is looming, not so fast, but it has been sealed by me, I will enjoy it slowly. As you like, since Lum Wan has reached a cooperation with him, he naturally doesn't care when he refines the ghost beast. After Jun Luokan brought the ghost beast into the pendant, she disappeared into the jungle in a flash. When he returned to the top of the mountain again, the man in purple had been killed by the golden light sword energy of Ming Xiu as expected. Junior sister Lu, are you alright? Gu Xiu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Lum Wan return safely. If something happened to this little ancestor here, he would have to be stripped alive by Elder Ao and the sect master when he went back. It's okay, Lum Wan smiled. Where's the ghost beast? Han Yi asked curiously, looking behind her. Because the ghost beast is a creature produced by refining the souls of humans or monsters by cultivating and refining the soul of the yin evil spirit, no matter which level it is promoted to, it cannot be transformed into a human form. Moreover, the body of the yin soul beast is actually made of countless yin qi, so it is also called the indestructible body, that is, it cannot be killed by ordinary sword qi or magic weapons. Lum Wan came back, but the ghost beast disappeared. They didn't know if she killed it? Run, Lum Wan shrugged and said helplessly. She chased out aggressively just now, and returned after a while. Now that the ghost beast ran away, who would believe such an excuse? You won't be swallowing the ghost beast alone, right? The excuse of running away is too fake. Hao Yuezong's leading disciple turned around and said. Even though the ghost beast was conceived by a demon cultivator, it was also of great help to the sword cultivator who cultivated the right path. If you can use the blood of its body to refine the body, it will be more effective. Lum Wan was going to trouble the disciple of Hao Yuezong, but he didn't expect him to come out first. She sneered, and her body technique disappeared in front of everyone like a ghost walking in a blink of an eye. The leading disciple of the Hao Yu sect only felt that her eyes were too sharp, and after seeing her disappear, a sense of ominousness rose in his heart that he had never had before, and his neck suddenly felt cold. When Lum Wan appeared in front of everyone again, she suddenly stood on the side of the leading disciple of Hao Yu sect and pinched his neck with one hand. I didn't expect you to be tall and thick, with a very thin neck. I wonder if it will make a sound of broken bones if it is crushed. Lum Wan's stunning face bloomed with a smile as beautiful as a poppy. I like hearing the sound of bone cracks the most. How about you? My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 370. Seeing that Lum Wan's body technique was like a ghost, he suddenly grabbed the neck of the leading disciple of the Haoyu sect, smiling beautifully and movingly, but he said something that made the scalp numb, and the disciples of several sects did not know how to describe the mood at this time. Junior sister, I haven't heard the sound of a fractured neck. Senior sister, why don't you try it? Jin smiled enchantingly, lest the world would not be chaotic. The women of the Beiji sect are all lunatics. At this time, the disciples of several sects secretly made up their minds not to offend the female disciples of the Beiji section. Jin beat up a disciple of the Haoyu sect to half-death in public last time. This beauty named Lum Wen looked even more ruthless. Hot. You dare! The leading disciple of Haoyu sect only felt that Lum Wen's hand was getting tighter and tighter, and he had a feeling that he couldn't breathe, and felt a little fear in his heart. Our 6 sects are here to do the task, you can't kill me. Lum Wen curled her lips into a smile, her voice soft, yes, now the 6 joint missions really can't kill you. She took her hand away from the disciple's neck, took out a piece of silk from her sleeve, wiped it, and threw it away. Seeing this, the leading disciple's eyes were full of anger, but he didn't say anything harsh. But if you can't kill you, it doesn't mean you can't beat you. Lum Wen restrained her smile and snorted, I think you've been unpleasant for a long time. If you want to send it to the door and let me beat you, it's also a bitch. You. Haoyu Ezong's leading disciple was stagnant, and he thought that Lum Wen would change his face so quickly, and he was punched in the face just after saying one word. Lum Wen did not cover her hands with the spirit fire. She could not kill her when she was tasked with the 6 cases together. Killing or maiming people would inevitably lead to 2 deeper conflicts. But it was very necessary for him to lie down for 2 months after being beaten to death. Haoyu sect was originally a sect that focused on body refinement. When Lum Wen threw the first punch, the disciple hadn't reacted. When she threw the second punch, the pressure of his whole body exploded and his body swelled rapidly. He caught Lum Wen's fist with a big slap, and he sneered proudly, do you really think you can hurt me? My cultivation is a level higher than yours. Being able to become the inner disciple of Haoyu sect and the leader of the mission, he is naturally not a useless person. Lum Wen's eyes curled with war, really? Then when I beat you to the point where you can't get up, let's see if you still have the face to say such things. Humph, you are so arrogant. You are so arrogant. The leading disciple was furious. I'm just arrogant, what can you do to me? Lum Wen narrowed her eyes and smiled brightly. Immediately, her figure disappeared in a flash, and everyone saw her figure constantly appearing around the disciple of Haoyu sect, and it even seemed that dozens of figures were punching and bombarding together. Junior sister's movements are really amazing. Jin Se looked at Lum Wen with amazement. A rare smile appeared on Pen Yang's face, her body is even stronger than that of the disciples of Haoyu section. This junior sister is really hidden. Gu Xiu had seen Lum Wen beat up on the crystal wall of the competition space. He used to think she was too violent, but now he felt very happy watching her beat up the disciples of Haoyu Ezong. He is not the only one who thinks this way. Several disciples of the 8 extreme sect all feel that Lum Wen is very good at beating. Standing not far away with Jin Jian in his arms, Ming Xiu watched Lum Wen beat up with a smile in his eyes, but he didn't even notice the doting in the bottom of his eyes. What? At the beginning, the consular disciple of Haoyu Ezong could take a few fists from Lum Wen, but as time went on, her ghostly figure became faster and faster, and his reaction was always a beat slower. And what does it mean when the reaction is slow for 1 beat during the battle? Not to die is of course to be beaten. Ah, a scream came from his mouth. After a while, everyone saw Lum Wen kicking Haoyu Ezong's disciple to the ground. He no longer had the strength to fight back, but kept screaming. She hadn't let it go, she didn't use any primordial strength, and punched the opponent's weak spot with a punch, which not only caused the opponent to hurt for 2 months, but absolutely couldn't see any injuries. Seeing this, the other disciples of Haoyu sect took a breath and glanced at each other. If their apprentice brother was beaten to death by Lum Wan, and they returned unharmed, they would be severely punished in the courtyard. Junior sister Lu, are you not taking Hao Yuezong too seriously by doing this? A disciple, staring at a few people, walked up to Lum Wan and said bravely. Lum Wan stopped what he was doing, stepped on the disciple's back and crushed it heavily. She turned her head and looked at the person who opened her mouth with a smile, raised her eyebrows and asked, "Why do you want to take his place?" He. The disciple shrank his neck. The senior brother is not the devil's opponent, so he will be beaten for him when he is crazy. I mean our 6 sects will come out to do the task together. You will my senior brother. It's hard to explain if we go back to death, and it's hard to explain if you go back to the sect, so let him go. He was telling the truth. If Lum Wan really killed the leading disciple of their Hao Yu sect this time, she would definitely be severely punished when she returned. After all, in the past, the disciples of the 6 sects killed each other in places where people of the secret realm could not see each other. It was absolutely forbidden to kill each other in public. Lum Wan smiled, who said, "I'm going to kill him. I just want to ask the senior brother's body refining technique. We are just discussing. Is your eyes not very good? You can't see it?" She had a smile on her face, but her voice was like the coolness of the night. "Let's learn from each other, of course learn from each other." The disciple looked down at his brother's tragic situation and decided that he still couldn't offend the female devil, otherwise he would be the one who turned into a pig's head. Lum Wan gave him a funny look, and said with a smile, "Senior brother's eyes are really good. Take him away." She stretched her feet back and sighed with disappointment. "I thought I could learn a little bit more, but who knew that it would be a disappointment to be so casual." The disciples of the other sects twitched their mouths when they heard her words. "Do you think everyone is perverted like you?" The disciples of Hao Yuezong finally breathed a sigh of relief when they heard her words, and quickly fed the leading disciple a medicine for internal injuries, and helped the comatose person to the side away from Lum Wan, for fear that she would be unhappy. Came back to make up a few feet. "Junior sister is playing well, they are just scumbags who need a lesson." Jin Se sharply swept the disciples of Hao Yuezong and said with a smile. Lum Wan's beating up that person made them very happy, and her affection for her rose a little bit. "Senior sister is right, fists are the last word." Lum Wan returned a smile. The other disciples really wanted to kneel for 2 beautiful women with different temperaments to discuss such a violent issue. Bajaizong is really a place where female devils come out, and all of them are extremely fierce. Brother Chi, the missing disciples of several major sects have been found. Shall we go back to the sect to report this matter? Gu Xiu immediately stepped forward to ask Ming Xiu in order to distract others from Lum Wan's attention. Ming Xiu waved his hand and said with a smile, "This matter has come to an end. You can leave first if you want to go back and hand in the task."